Hey everybody, this is DM Mike, and this is a quick look at a dungeon creating program called Dungeondraft. Still early access. I don't know why I never purchase things that are early access, so I'm not sure what's happening to me. Maybe I got a brain tumor. But this was purchased just today. I wanted to try it out mainly because I did want to keep doing some 2D maps. And again, as I've said this many times in many of my videos, I like to change my aesthetics, right? So it just kind of adds to the appeal of a game, I think. So this is a pretty straightforward. I'm not going to do a tutorial. This is not to sell it to you or anything. I'm just showing you what I'm doing and what I'm using. But pretty, I'm on a Cintiq too, so it's probably working maybe a little bit faster for me. But as you can see here, it's pretty straightforward. You can do floors, you can do walls, and all you got to do is pop it down. There you go. There we go. There we go. Here's the secret. No, it's not really a secret room, is it? There. Let's bring it down a little bit. Another hallway. Maybe this hallway's a little bit bigger. We'll just do that. And this one is leading down this way into a larger, probably where the main boss is. All right, there you go. I just did a layout of dungeon. If you want to do anything else, that's all you got to do, right? And you can go ahead and you can export it as a JPEG, a PNG, into a virtual tabletop, and you can set it up for a 55 to 40-inch television, right? There's all kinds of things you can do, right? It's pretty... I mean, look at that. That was pretty quick, right? It's pretty intuitive so far. Like, I'm enjoying it. You can do material brushes. What's this going to do? All right, so that's not the greatest there. Little terrain brushes. Okay, so I think I'm still learning this, so I don't have... this is gravel right here. So now let's say that there's gravel outside the dungeon, right? So I'm going to put some... This is like a really huge freaking brush here. Just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, you know, just kind of, and you can adjust the size and intensity of this. We can bring it down a little bit. There we go. Just like maybe just a few pieces just hanging out. And you can see it's doing it below the dungeon, the wall there. So, you know, it just gives it a nice little touch. Move this over. Whoops. And if we want, you can immediately change all of it at one time. So we can do terrain grass. Boom, there it goes. Now we got some grass in there. All right, so I can just kind of dump all that in. If we want to go do something above that, maybe I can put like some real grass. Maybe this is an outside dungeon. I don't know. This is crap, right? This is just crap. Just showing you, you know, kind of what you can do with it. You know, just kind of put it in there, do whatever. And then, of course, there are object tools, and here's all your props, right? They're still working on it. Again, early access, but, you know, there's all kinds of stuff in here. Admittedly, I think some of the illustrations are lacking some detail. They're a little fuzzy when you start to scale them up. Some of these have a feeling they're maybe drawn a little too fast. I don't know. That's just an observation. But here's some statues, and turn these statues around. There we go. There we go. Put them in there. So you can see here, you can do things pretty quickly. Put some beds in. Now, right now, I've got it snapping to the grid. Let me take that off there. And they got a big trophy. Here's some carpeting. There we go. It's always kind of nice. Put a little plant in. This is it's a cozy dungeon. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. They love playing piano, so we'll just put a piano in there, or an organ, I guess I should say. And so on and so forth. You could do everything. Here's like maybe this is a guard or a statue of well, that's kind of a statue, isn't it? And here's like some coffins. Well, you know, they just sleep down the hallways. A bunch of coffins, you know. Maybe a mummy too. Maybe we could put the mummy on top. There we go. They're sitting on the slabs. All right, so you get what I'm doing, right? I mean, there's just a lot of things you can do with this. So I wanted to show you one of the maps I'm working on for that I think I'm done with for Dragons of Icespire Peak. I'm going to go ahead and open it now. We do not want to keep that map. I'll tell you that much. It's called the Goblin Encounter. Go ahead and load it up. All right, here we go. So this is the map that I was working. Oh, oops, no. Sorry, I don't know the software completely yet. All right, let's take off the grid. So here is my map. This is a Goblin Encounter map. There's a lot of traveling, right, in this adventure, so I wanted to make sure I had something kind of on standby. And you can see it's pretty straightforward. Just, you know, this is an abandoned fort, a very, very small fort. Some goblins have taken over. Here's some paths leading up into there and around. There's actually ways to get into the fortress in the back area. But this is basically what I want to do. It took about an hour to do because, again, don't know the program very well. Let's zoom in just a bit here to 125. You can see you can put a lot of detail in here. Here's a pit and branches. Like all these little things here are put in one by one, right? These tables, the little pot of swords, ladders, all the trees, the gravel, not the gravel, that's kind of a big brush, but the hay, I mean, all this little stuff, you can really get pretty detailed, I think, with this the software. And broken wagon. So down in here was the main road leading to it. Here's a road sign, and of course where they cut down some trees. But the goblins have taken over, so the place is trashed and whatnot. But this is where it started. Now, here's the thing, though. We don't have to stop here. We can. It does have some lighting and whatnot, and some interesting tools with effects. Like I can take this light tool and see I can kind of put lighting in here, which is kind of cool. But it's very static lighting, so once you export it, it's just, it shines everything in the right direction, right? It's giving you the shadows and values and things you want, but so you can put it anywhere, make this really, really bright, right? Boom, like this. Maybe there's a hole in the ceiling that's coming down, and you can make it very cute. So it's you can change the color, like there's this all kinds of stuff. Here's blue, always kind of nice, all those kind of things, right? But it's very static, and once you put it in there, it's just there. And so I want to take this though and use this for Tabletop Simulator, because that's my kind of go-to software. I'm going to show you what I ended up doing, and this is how you can kind of put these two together and create some effects. So here we are. Let's kind of zoom out. There we go. There is the map, the Goblin Encounter. Okay, so let's hop over into Affinity Photo. It's a Photoshop alternative. I'll show you what I've done there, just to kind of enhance the map a little bit. Okay, here we are in Affinity Photo. I've got my map selected here. All I've did. Now you can export things as pings and JPEGs and whatnot. So I've done that. I did it to the Tabletop Simulator dimensions. Had to shrink it a little bit, but here it is ready to go. As you can see, it's pretty plain, pretty straightforward. What I decided to do was I wanted more value, I wanted more lighting, and I wanted cloud cover, right? Just little things like that. So here's what I ended up doing. There we go. Very simple, right? I mean, it's a very, very subtle thing. But here you can see a lot of little things that I added. I kind of blurred out the trees down here and added in some branches over the top here. It's just what I do for a lot of my maps. And added in much more value, and you can see kind of this cloud cover right in here, especially like right in here as it's coming across. And I like this program so far, but I think its value is very, very subtle, and it needs more of it. So I was having a hard time defining forms, like where things are at. So I kind of went through, as you can see here, I just textured all this. Actually, let me go ahead. Maybe this would help if I had a brush or something that would. But you can see here, like right in here, like I did textured shadowing or value, because because leaves, right? They're gonna, obviously they're not uniform, right? They're not gonna have like this nice square shadow. So that's what I did here. I kind of put some nice shading in, kind of darkened up in these areas here. And then of course I added a lot of lighting and kind of added in huge bits of light here. And you can kind of see a glare, right? These like light columns coming through. And I mean, obviously all up in here, you can kind of see where things have been enhanced. And let's see, I think that's about it. So now I want to show you what I did as I take it into Tabletop Simulator. So we started with Dungeondraft, made the dungeon, brought into Affinity Photo, added all this stuff, all the extra things, the lighting and whatnot, and gave it some shading value and cloud cover. Now I'll show you the next thing. We take it from here and save it, export it again as another JPEG, and then bring it into Tabletop Simulator. And I'll show you what we did there. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, here we are in Tabletop Simulator. Let's go ahead and load up the map. Here we are, the Goblin Encounter. Okay, so here we are. As you can see, I've added in quite a bit of, just a few effects here. That's all. I've changed the lighting as well. I think the light is actually called Boring, or is it Viking? Oh, Boring, number 13. If you're interested, number 13, Boring. Which isn't so boring if you ask me, but it really highlights things. It kind of really saturates a lot of the color, and you can really see the cloud cover and stuff here. But as you can see, let me zoom in a little bit, you can see these little fireflies. They just kind of come into view every once in a while. And of course the campfires that are actually have their own light and ambience. Also, you can see these little flies. This is not screen tear or anything. This is just like a bunch of flies that are inside the fortress. But I've put these campfires everywhere, and of course on the forest are more fireflies and whatnot. And the background is something I got off the web, the site itself. Hey, there's me. But I think it's Ethan Carter background or something like that. But this is it. This is now the encounter map inside Tabletop Simulator. And again, this is why I opted out of putting any kind of lighting, baked in lighting for the map, because I knew when I got here that I could apply all kinds of effects, all right? And over here, like there's a flock of birds. Here we are. You can see them right here. Boop. Barely see them there. Is that the, oh, it's fireflies. Okay, I need to actually go in here, and we can take this, and we can actually turn it to like a black color so it kind of disappears a little bit, and I can drop it below the board, or I can kind of hide it in there. That's pretty good right there, actually. Lock it down there. Lock it down. Okay, there we go. All right, but you can see, I mean, I think it looks pretty darn good. I mean, yes, I'm jumping from program to program to get this kind of effect, but it wasn't really all that difficult. As you can see in Dungeondraft, you're putting things together really quick. Now, you have to get over that hump of learning how to, you know, move things around and get familiar with the tools. It didn't take me maybe half an hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. Even then, when you're building, you're going to stumble and, you know, mess things up. But it's pretty effective. It kind of transfers itself pretty easily into Tabletop Simulator. If you're using this program, you can see these two can work together, and you can generate your dungeons really, really fast, or caves, or forests, or towns, you know, whatever you want to do, and then pop them right in here. And it looks pretty darn good. And of course, we can actually go in now, and I can put in a grid. I think more of a hexagon grid is what I wanted to do here. Yeah, see, I've already put it in. It's really, really faint. Because when you put a square grid on top of square tiles like this, it gets a little confusing. They don't line up, right? And characters or players are looking at it going, okay, wait, where am I? So when I have a lot of square type tiles, I will use a hexagon grid to make it just a little bit easier. And you can see, I've got it really faded. You can bump up the opacity. You know, you can also change the color of the grid. Right now I've got it black, but you can make it white, orange, red, green, purple, whatever you want. Anything in the Fruit Loops cereal color scheme, you can do it. All right, guys, that's it. I just wanted to show you what I'm doing here. This is one random encounter on one of the trails I'm sure the characters will be doing, traveling on as they go take on these various quests and Dragons of Icespire Peak. Much more to come in Dungeondraft, and I'll make sure to put those videos up. My next whatever map it's going to be, and again, I'll start in Dungeondraft and end in Tabletop Simulator. All right, guys, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.